Want to do a sitcom?
Yeah. Do you think it happened? If so, why? And would it be a good move? So Jim Harbaugh had 4 seasons as a head coach with the Niners, right? His record was 44-19-1. He took him to. We doing this?
Nah, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know. Are the people ready?
What's
It's
up, guys?
season 2 of the Sports Manor with our new member of the team, Mr. DrozKnows. Everybody welcome DrozKnows to the team.
Hey guys,
How's it going, sir? How does it feel?
feels good. Feels a little weird.
This your first ever podcast?
Yes, sir. First ever podcast. Any
Our-
kind of recording, anything like that. So
Yeah,
It's ours too.
and we're back because of Renee. This is the new vlog house thanks to Mr. Renee over here. So he provided us the space to shoot
It's
with all
gonna.
COVID going
I
around.
was gonna say it's gonna be a little rough because we're out here in beautiful Los Angeles, California.
that's part of the skyline.
Yeah. But let's get right into it. You know, we've been gone for a while, so we have a lot to talk about. We have a rookie over here.
My fault.
No, so let's get right into it, right? It's been a while since we've shot an episode, so let's start with the Week 9 games. Favorite game of the week. Do you have a favorite game?
Of course, Bucks and Saints.
Bucks and
It's a
Saints.
revenge game. They've had our ass the last. I don't even remember the last time we beat the Saints. I want to say it was 2 seasons ago. I think it was that Godwin touchdown to end the game. Man, whoever threw that ball, he needs to be on a team somewhere. But we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, but Mike Thomas is actually coming back, so he's gonna play this week. After
I'm not really worried because we played against him the first game, shut him down. We really held that offense to I think it was under 200 yards. But it's a new week. We got a new team. I feel like they might have dropped off the Saints a little bit.
Well, what do you guys have to change from Week 1? Because that was a pretty bad loss. What do you feel like they need to do different?
Basic simple thing is the chemistry. Everybody talks about this is Brady's first time with these new receivers, so just got to give them time to get it together, timing on the routes and stuff. I feel like they really got that down. The defense is still the same, outstanding all over the field. Devin White is making his case for defensive player of the year. I would say, and maybe it's a little Buck bias because there are some ballers out there.
I hear no. You guys are getting another baller on the team. Antonio Brown's making his debut this week.
I know. I really wasn't jumping up and down on the couch. Like the one dude on the Oprah show.
I hear you.
But it's cool. Like I'm pretty excited for it. I don't think it's gonna ruin the chemistry. I feel like there's some Buccaneers in that locker room, like Mike Evans, Levante David, that have been playing there for 5-7 years that have never even came close to the playoffs. Like they're not gonna let anybody screw that up. Like they will throw hands.
Well, yeah, talking about that, there's a lot of GMs that came out today, and they said that they expect Antonio Brown to kind of blow up the Bucs from the inside. He's like a ticking time bomb. Do you feel like he's gonna be all right?
I feel like he will. But that could be just hiding it, putting on that smile, that fake smile for the media. But I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I feel like Bruce Arians will put an end to it real quick.
Yeah. Now Gronkowski actually has 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Do you feel like he's starting to get the ball rolling and he's gonna be like a complete tight end now that OJ Howard's out, or do you think it's just a 3-game little streak and he's gonna go cold from here on out?
I hope so, because I do have him on my fantasy team too. So
Okay.
I would love to keep it up.
So you're a believer.
But, yeah, I am. I think so. For people saying that he was washed, I didn't believe it. I mean, I don't think he's Gronk like he was back in 2016, 15. The cover of Madden Gronk. But I feel like there's still a lot left in the tank, and this season, I think he's on a 1-year deal. Could be his last, so he's definitely going to give it his all. I mean, I'm not going to say he's still the GOAT, but he's probably playing like top 5 right now.
Okay.
Of all the other tight ends.
Now going to DrozKnows, the spread's actually the Bucs -4.5. How do you feel about that? Who would you take and why?
You know what? Coca did a good job of selling me right now in the Bucks. I really did like the Saints coming into this week. But with the addition of Antonio Brown, I really don't. I didn't see it being that big of a difference maker. out there. But Brady just plays phenomenal football. I mean, for the exception of, week 1 against the Bears, when he had pretty much no weapons.
Yeah.
You see him, he shows out, and, adding Antonio Brown to that system, he's going to get us some attention. And if he's not getting attention, he's going to get some receptions. So I could definitely see, Antonio Brown having a good week, or if not, he's opening something up for somebody else.
Nah,
they don't have Chris Godwin, but
No, I was gonna say I agree because you can't like if anybody on the Saints secondary, like there's some solid guys out there, but I don't think any of them could hold AB 1-on-1.
Right.
I think Marshawn Lattimore has played a good job against Mike Evans, but who's gonna he can only guard one guy.
Right.
I think Chris Godwin is will win his 1-on-1 matchup. AB will win his 1-on-1. Mike Evans, like I don't know, like this is gonna be a weird because every time we play the Saints, it's just Lattimore follows Evans all over the field. Pretty even battle, but who's gonna guard who? And then if one goes down, Scotty Miller will step in. We have Gronk.
They have a lot of weapons. They did what New England didn't want to do up there for Tom Brady, and they're giving them people to compete out on the field and at least giving them a chance. Now the Bucs do have the #1 rush defense in the NFL. Over under Alvin Kamara 55 rushing yards this week.
I had to say under. Honestly,
Yes,
I don't
sir.
even.
Under
I agree.
55.
Under 55. I
Wow.
don't think Kamara's that great of a rusher. I think he's a lot better in the backfield. He's good for a couple screens, dumping off to the side, couple check downs, delay blocking, go ahead and, kind of save Breeze. But as far as a rusher, and I mean, Tampa Bay stops everybody. I mean, I think for the exception of Christian McCaffrey, who, arguably is probably, if not the best running back in football, but he held him like under 70 yards.
Yeah.
It's a super run-heavy offense designed and kind of built around him, not built for Teddy Bridgewater to run that.
I was gonna say because 55, that's generous. Considering we held him to 12 rushes, 18 yards.
Oh,
We
wow.
held him under 20 yards rush in the week 1, and then he had I think it was like 50 yards receiving. So as a receiver, he's gonna be tough to contain. But as a rusher, we've stopped. Aaron Jones, CMC, Alvin Kamara, which is in everybody's top 5, maybe. I'd say they're all 3 in my top 5.
Now talking about CMC, he's actually making his comeback this week. They're playing the Chiefs. They got the spread at 10.5. Actually, I think it just dropped to 10 for the Chiefs.
Right.
All right. Who do you guys have winning this game and why?
Chiefs.
The Chiefs?
Do
Do you think they win the spread? Let me rephrase that.
I was gonna say,
okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say I feel like I'd take the Chiefs straight up, but the spread. I don't know because
No.
Carolina's been they've been playing solid ball. They've had some tough competition, but CMC's back, so the offense is gonna look a lot better. And the defense is, I say they're like a middle of the road team. They haven't been getting blown out, but
Well, Chris Jones is actually out for 3 games. He just went on IR due to COVID reasons. Mahomes, he's having it's funny because everybody says Mahomes is having a quiet season. The guy's doing just as good as he's always
That's
done.
what I'm saying,
It's just other people are balling out. Aaron Rodgers, Russell
Mhm.
Wilson, but the guy's still putting up numbers. They had a close game versus the Chargers, which I thought they actually should have lost. Shout out Justin Herbert, he balled out that game.
yeah,
And then they did lose to the Raiders, so they've had a couple hiccups. And in my opinion, I feel like they're a mortal team, right? Everybody looked at them as this team that they're immortal.
everybody was saying, they're going back to back.
10
Why
Super
even
Bowls,
play
yeah.
the full season?
And they are
10.
10
Who
Super
was that?
which-
Max Kellerman
yeah.
said 10 Super Bowls.
And they're 16-1
Oh
in their
my
last
gosh.
16 games, so full regular season. They're actually 16-1.
Mhm.
I forgot who they lost to, but they seem more immortal
You're
this
talking
year,
about this
right?
season? They lost to Oakland.
Yeah, so it was Oakland. So they're
Mhm.
16-1 besides that Oakland game, but they seem more immortal. Like I said, they seem like they're in games till the fourth quarter, till very late.
Mhm.
A spread like 10 versus a team like Carolina, who's up and down. I'm not sure who's gonna win that, but DrozKnows.
Oh man, I'm never really sold on Kansas City Chiefs run defense. I don't think that they're very reliable in that department, especially with CMC coming back. I mean, he's coming back from a high ankle sprain, but he's had tons of time to recover. Assuming that he comes out and plays the football the way we expect him to play football, I do see the game moving a lot slower. I mean, the way you beat the Chiefs is you just run the ball and you keep Mahomes off the field.
Mhm.
So if they have a good run game, I really like Panthers plus 10. I like 10.5 more. I wish the spread would have stayed there. I would definitely take plus 10.5. But at plus 10, I still feel pretty good. I would take plus 10. I mean, Kansas City's got one of the most explosive offenses, but they're not worried about covering spreads. They're just worried about covering winning football games. So
Yeah, they don't
hear
care
you.
about the gamblers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, talking
Don't
about
care about us.
these big spreads, the biggest spread of the week is actually Pittsburgh Steelers minus 14 versus the Cowgirls.
I think it's
right?
at 15 now because
At
Zeke,
15?
might not even play.
So
supposedly.
this is one of those games
15,
like when
15.
last week it was Chiefs minus 19 versus the Jets, and I saw that and I'm like, I'm gonna take the Jets. That's insane. That 19 points is huge. This week though, I'm looking at the 15 and I think I'm gonna take Pittsburgh because Dallas has just been atrocious. Like they don't belong in the NFL.
That's
It's
the
so
thing.
bad.
I don't even like. I can't even speak on them because I don't know who's even out there.
Quarterback, Cooper Rush.
Cooper
Cooper Rush,
yeah.
And they were talking about, well, we need the guy with more experience. Well, after last game, Ben DiNucci has thrown more passes, but I guess more experience, like being in the league. I mean, I guess that matters. But where's your head at? Are you taking this? Are you gonna take that?
I mean, as sad as it is to say, and I feel like Skip Bayless, riding along with the Cowboys. But I like the Cowboys. I mean, I think the Cowboys showed a lot of life against the Eagles. Granted, it is the banged up Philadelphia Eagles. And Carson Wentz, who does lead the league in turnovers, he had 4 turnovers, by himself, 2 fumbles. I mean, Trayvon Diggs gets 2 interceptions on his own. So, I mean, they showed a lot of life. They had Gregory on the outside getting some pressure, D-Law was getting some pressure too. So they got Sean Lee for the first time last week. He's an old head, but he's a veteran, and he's probably doing a good job, rallying a younger team around him to kind of play football. Vanderdesh, who was out a couple games in the beginning of the season, so
He had a huge hit last game.
Yeah, he
A huge
lifted
sack versus Carson
him up off
Wentz.
his feet.
Yeah.
That was one of the strip sacks.
So I'm, definitely. I mean, I love that linebacker core. I love Vanderdesh. I love Jalen Smith. I love Sean Lee. So they've been one of my favorite linebacker cores in the league. I give a shout out to the Bucks. Obviously I rock with my Seahawks. Love Bobby Wagner. But I forgot the question. I got so excited to talk about
So
linebackers.
Pittsburgh minus 15 versus Dallas. Who are you taking?
I'm taking plus 15. Dallas
plus
Cowboys.
15.
I don't even care if Zeke don't play. I don't care.
Okay, so everybody, Cowboys. Everybody talks about one thing: Dak and the contract, right? Everybody do the Dallas Cowboys re-sign Dak next year, make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Somebody else is kind of falling in the shadows behind Dak that I want to talk about is Ezekiel Elliott, and the reason I bring him up is a new segment on the show we're doing is Love It or Dump It, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna ask you two: Love it or dump it? Should the Cowboys trade Ezekiel Elliott before next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, look at the stats. I mean, there's really no difference between, Tony Pollard and Zeke. Zeke's a huge contract. I would dump it. I mean, I would love what you're saying, but I would dump the contract and I would dump Zeke.
Gotcha. Renee?
I would agree. I mean, I really don't know what the kind of value and who has cap space for and how that all kind of works, because that's a little foreign to me. But in theory of getting rid of Zeke, I'm all for it. I agree. Tony Pollard, he comes off on the third down back. You got Zeke that punches in for 2 yards, it gets 3 yards, and Tony Pollard gets 7, he gets 12. He gets all the big runs, and I just think he wants it more. Zeke's got his payday. He put on some weight from Cabo, and I don't think he's really in for it right now.
I also feel like running backs, they're not as valuable. That's the word I'm looking for.
Agreed.
I feel like they're not as valuable because it's not like the 90s when Emmitt Smith was the back every single play. I feel like running back committee is now the way to go. Fresh legs every time. And if you're going to do that, why pay one guy, what is it, $60 million?
Yeah, it's kind of like what the Rams do too. They rotate 3 running backs and they ground and
legs.
pound.
Yeah, every time.
But you have fresh legs in there. And Dallas Cowboys, they had a leading rusher in the NFL, and it was DeMarco Murray, right? Because they put him behind a good offensive line. So I feel like as long as you have a good offensive line, it doesn't really matter who's in the backfield unless he's a special talent like Kamara, McCaffrey, Derrick Henry.
I feel like that would be the exception because
Dalvin Cook.
Yes.
Dalvin Cook. Let me not leave him out.
But I feel like that's an exception because you could line up CMC and Kamara, and you could play Aaron Jones, all 3 of those guys really at slot, 5 wide. They could do all of that. You can't put Zeke in the slot like that.
Yeah.
I mean, screens you can, but like bubble screens, I don't think so.
Well, and I know you mentioned Dalvin Cook, so let's get on to the Vikings-Lions game this week. So Dalvin Cook last week had 4 touchdowns and something nobody really saw coming. When he's healthy, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. Mr. Renee knows over here.
Called this in week 3.
Saw it coming.
Week 3 when the Packers were undefeated and they seemed unbeatable. And, I mean, they still do after they trampled over the 49ers. But one thing, they're not a physical team. You get a big back. Like if they were to ever play the Tennessee Titans would do the same thing to them. They can't stop the run. They've been struggling in that department for a long time. And if we go back to the playoffs, if The Seahawks are not playing with the back that hasn't played football in 2 years. Their fourth string option, Marshawn Lynch, and then his backup from like 2 years ago as well.
Yeah.
They win that game too. They struggle against the run, and I take every player prop rushing.
No, that's a fact.
Well,
That's a fact.
another team that struggles versus the run is the Detroit Lions, one of the worst teams in the league against the run. Do you think Dalvin Cook could have a repeat performance and score 3 to 4 touchdowns this week?
That's a lot. That's a lot to ask for. But I can see him. I can see him with 2 touchdowns. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, Kirk Cousins is having an awful season, and I don't really think. I mean,
80 million.
Is that how much?
That's how much his contract's worth. That's
crazy.
an $80 million season right there, and he's doing that.
He doesn't really have a ton of options. I
Mhm.
mean, Thielen, you know,
Justin Jefferson's been balling out.
he's
for a
doing
rookie.
fantastic, but he gets a lot of, I feel like, garbage yards. You know,
Yeah.
they're down every game they play, so
Yeah.
you know a lot of teams are playing soft coverage. You know, you're gonna buff the stats up.
Mhm.
So I mean, I feel the same way kind of about Allen Robertson for the Bears.
Yeah,
I'm not really crazy about him. He's great for fantasy.
Okay.
Me and my friends, we have these debates every week, you know, about him, and I'm just not crazy about him. So some of these teams that play from behind, I think they have like 3 wins from like double digits in the fourth quarter. So you know, you're playing from behind, you're gonna get some yards. You're gonna kind of pat the stats.
Well, you know what's pretty surprising? Guess who's the you might have looked it up. The number 1 passing yards leader.
Matt Ryan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And playing from behind. That's why he's my fantasy quarterback.
Well, it's
They
the same
get
thing
down
with
by
Dak.
15,
Before
they
Dak
aired
got
out.
hurt, he was leading the NFL in passing yards too.
Mhm.
So passing yards don't really translate to wins. I don't know where that came from or that idea came from.
Mhm.
But 2 teams that don't really pass the ball are the Tennessee Titans and the Chicago Bears, and they have a big game this week. Tennessee, they're actually they're favored plus 6.5, I believe it is, right?
That's a fair line.
All right, and then so the Bears' offense has been terrible, but they have one of the best defenses in the league against the run. Derrick Henry leads the league with 725 rushing yards. He's had, I think, 100 yards in every single game this season.
Mhm.
Leads the league with 8 touchdowns on the season. Do you think the Bears can stop Derrick Henry, or at least contain him so they can get a win, or do you think Tennessee comes out on top?
Well, I think Tennessee's going to come up on top, but contain him? I don't think so. Because Leonard Fournette still had a pretty solid, Rojo had a pretty solid game against him. And he was up there in the yards leader, but Bruce Arians pulls him out whenever he messes up. But I feel like if, he was doing it, Derrick Henry could do the same. As long as Tannehill doesn't have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, I think nobody can really stop Derrick Henry. The Bucks have a good shot at it, but the Bears got a great defense too. But as long as the Bears offense does what it does and doesn't move the ball, Henry's going to get a ton of attempts, and he's a workhorse. You can feed him, 30 plus times, and he's going to average. He can fall down, and he'll give you 3 yards.
Now, love it or dump it. Do you think Derrick Henry can rush for over 1,600 yards this season?
1,600?
He's at
That'd be
700.
100. He's at 725 in 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
So 1,600, he'd have 100 yards every single game this season.
Yes.
Minimum of 100 yards.
Yes.
I think so,
Yeah.
because I feel like one of these games he's got to snap for his 200. So
think-
even let's say he does go out and, goes
Well,
out
what's
with
his ceiling? Because everybody knows he's going to run the ball too, right? What do you think his ceiling is for yardage this season? Do you think he could hit that 2,000?
No.
Ah, man, that's a
He'd be the
stretch.
last running back since Chris Johnson and hit 2,000 for the Tennessee Titans.
That's a stretch, especially because, he's not running the ball like they were back then. There's not a committee team, but, they understand, fresh legs. Let's not run the dude into the ground.
Yeah.
Let's put in it's not Deion Lewis anymore, but the backups, basically.
The rookie, yeah.
Yeah.
Save him for the playoffs a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I think. I feel like if they're already, clinched their division, why risk his injury?
Now,
That's the only thing that I feel like it would hold him back.
Agreed.
Now, a similar game, 2 teams that like to run the ball. It's going to be the Indianapolis Colts versus the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore's coming off a loss to Pittsburgh. That was a big loss. Lamar Jackson had 4 turnovers. Indianapolis does have a great defense at stopping the run. Well, Baltimore's favored by 1. Who comes out on top?
The only thing that is holding them back, I feel like, is their offense. You said
Holding who back?
the Colts.
Not a Phillip Rivers believer?
No, I'm not. I'm not sold
Not at
on it.
all?
I'm
Too
not
old.
sold on it.
Too old.
Not
He,
only-
he looks awful. You watch him drop back into a play action. He's standing straight up.
Yeah, I mean they're 5 and
Who's gonna fight in
2
that?
though. Do you think
Their
they're
defense is
play-
fantastic.
Do you think
That's
they're a
why.
playoff
They have a
team?
great defense. It's gonna. I mean, I feel like they're gonna come down to the wire between Tennessee and them.
Yeah.
So could be, but honestly, probably because there's 7 teams that make it now,
Okay.
right? There's
7 teams in
Yeah,
each
7.
conference,
So I feel like they could make it. they'll probably be the last seed or they'll win the division. That's probably it for them.
And I'm jumping around a little bit over here, but talking about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. So last year they had a big game versus the New England Patriots. In my mind, I thought they were going to blow them out, which they did. It was like 37-20.
Mhm.
But besides that game, in big-time games, it doesn't seem like Lamar Jackson seems to perform that well, right? 4 turnovers versus the Steelers on primetime. They beat bad teams, and then they lose to good teams. Do you think Lamar Jackson will ever actually get over the hump and lead Baltimore to a Super Bowl?
They actually did beat the Seattle Seahawks, so they don't only beat bad
I mean,
teams.
last season or this
Last
season? Last season.
Last
So was
season.
this
It was like a double-digit victory.
okay?
Yeah.
I don't know,
I
man.
was a little hurt that game.
I mean, they choked versus Tennessee, right? First round.
No,
But
I know where
you know
you're
what I'm
coming from.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Wait, fun fact. Let me get my.
Oh,
Oh, man.
Fun. Oh, I gotta get in here. Scoot over. Oh yeah, it's your girl, guest starring Ivory. Hey y'all. Anyways, go follow me. Anyways.
all right, who gave the girl the mic? So, anyways,
Okay,
so
no one's talking to you now. Okay, no, but fun fact. So Lamar Jackson is the only QB that's 24-0,
24-1.
24-1
Mhm.
in all not important games.
Oh,
Sure.
you mean 24-1?
Yeah, he's like virtually undefeated
He's
against
virtually undefeated
against
except when it
all
comes
big
to
big teams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but except when it comes down to like those down the wire games, like the big games that you guys are talking about him not delivering. So I don't know if it's because he just need to get his shit together because he's still like kind of new to the league, but at the same time, it's like you got to just get your shit together because you're too big of a name last year not doing as good as you should have because there's no way that they should have lost to the Steelers and it was his fault with the fumble.
Mm-hmm.
So
2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, I believe. But yeah.
there you have it. But yeah, outside of he's not clutch. That's which is crazy because he's the most running quarterback. He's yeah. No, I know, and I'm the cute one. See it? I ain't mad. Anyways, okay. So, but no, for real. So the problem is he's not clutch, which is crazy because he's the most running kind of like quarterback, like super talented. I feel like he's the one that really got the biggest talk for running quarterbacks. Like we've had him. Like Michael Vick, whatever, but he's really gave a whole brand name to it. Now we're like looking at Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson. Oh, now we're looking at Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson as like, oh, look at their run game or look at this person's run game. We're noticing it more. Even like Pat Mahomes' comment last like season, he's like when he made like a crazy ass run, he's like, did I look like Lamar? Did I look like Lamar? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, he's not clutch, which is crazy considering how talented of an athlete he is.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's like a lot of pressure on him being like a leader because his personality is a lower key personality. You know, he's more to himself, and I think that pressure might low key get to him. Like he has something to prove. Even when he got drafted, he's like last pick, like, you know, I'll show you guys, I'll get a ring, or even like good for a running back. You know, his clothing line that he put out. You know, so there could be a little bit of a maybe insecurity or whatever when it comes to it. Outside of just athletic ability, I think all of those things do matter. But he does have to get it together, especially if he wants to be anywhere near MVP conversation again. And that was your girl's input.
well,
Very
there
nice.
goes Ivory.
Very nice.
With their take of the day.
To piggyback off his athletic ability and, you know, and these clutch situations, I think, you know, you look at Lamar Jackson, he's a walking highlight reel, you know, a lot like Pat Mahomes, but he feels like he has to do it himself. And so he doesn't trust this team, you know, I feel like enough in his weapons. I mean, not that he has the most weapons, but he's got him out there.
I'm
so.
not going to say he has the worst, but he doesn't have the best.
He's got a great tight end.
Marquise Brown actually just went on Twitter and complained about him not getting the ball enough. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think like he's actually a playmaker that they should be looking at?
I mean, with his speed alone, yeah, and from what he's done last year, I would say he's probably their best receiver right now.
Yeah.
But also defenses have been playing them different. You know, they were giving Lamar the sidelines. You know, they're trying to bring everything to the middle, focus on the run, and they're saying, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to throw to the sidelines.
Well, one thing they lost as well that nobody's really talking about is last year they had 3 tight end packages. They actually ran 3 tight ends almost damn near every snap last year. This year they lost Hayden Hurst to the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like people don't talk about that enough because everybody says Baltimore needs a receiver. Right, they just signed Des Bryant, who got activated he made it to the active roster today. He just got activated. So everybody's talking about they need a big time receiver. Well, when you have 3 big tight ends, you really don't necessarily need that receiver, right? They can still pass the ball on the insides, down the hashes, get the ball down the field, especially with that nasty run game. But in the big time games, I really don't know what it is.
I agree. I mean, I feel like they run the ball, you know, just as good as any of the best run teams. I mean, if you're gonna think of like running offenses. I mean, you got the 49ers, you got the Minnesota Vikings, and then you got the Baltimore Ravens, and the Baltimore Ravens just are so deep at the back position. I mean, they got Gus Edwards, they got Mark Ingram. I don't even know the rookie's name, but I know
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's solid too. He had a nice game. He ran for 114 against the Steelers last week.
Wow, I didn't.
Yeah.
So I mean, that alone, I mean, you don't really need to pass the ball. I mean, you look at Tennessee Titans in the playoffs, I think Ryan Tannehill has less than 100 yards in his first 2 wins.
Yeah,
in the playoffs,
yeah.
And that's what wins football games.
You're absolutely right.
Control the clock. You got a good defense. What they do have, you win games. So I don't think you need necessarily more weapons. I think tight ends are great, especially in those packages where they have an additional blocker that can go out for reception as well. I think that really helps out a lot. And I don't think they need any more big time playmakers. I just think he needs to be smarter with the football and trust his team.
Okay. Now DrozKnows over here, if you guys didn't know, he actually called the Miami Dolphins with the win over the 49ers a couple weeks back. And then he did call another Vikings over Packers win last week. Renee, what would you say is the upset of the week this week, and then your lock of the week before we move on to love it or dump it?
Okay, let me go ahead and look at these lines real quick. Did I click it?
Yeah, it should be in slow. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Upset special. Upset special. There's nothing really crazy line-wise, but if I were to say an underdog that I think is a favorite to win this week, I've probably got to go.
I see a pretty enticing one.
I do like if Fitzmagic plays for the Dolphins, which is not going to happen. I love the Dolphins, but other than that, I got to probably go to the Monday night game. I got to go to the Jets and New England.
Sam Darnold is not playing anymore. He is not starting in that game.
Is he not?
Damn, what's his breaking news?
Breaking news. I'm breaking it right here.
This just came in?
Sam Darnold is not playing.
Lock it, boys. Lock it.
Hurt his AC joint in his shoulder.
Joe Flacco's a better quarterback either way.
Whoa.
I'm not a Sam Darnold believer. I don't really like him.
Why not?
He lost me too much money.
No, Sam Darnold next year when he's on the Colts or the 49ers, I feel like he'll be winning way more games. That's a real hot take right there.
All right. Well, let's move on to love it or dump it. So the first one I'm going to ask you guys, Aaron Rodgers, right? He just had a big win versus the 49ers this week on Thursday Night Football. It was a huge win. And the over hit with 4 seconds left. Fuck.
Head under.
So, yeah, head to under. I was pissed. So, Aaron Rodgers will be in a different uniform next year. Love it or dump it.
Man, in the beginning of the season, I would have loved it taking, Jordan Love in the first round. Yeah, in the end of the first round, not looking to help him with weapons. Kind of making it seem like, well, basically, Alex Smith played quarterback and then Mahomes took his spot. The same way where the last 3 teams Tyrod Taylor's been on, he's the bridge quarterback. But the way Aaron Rodgers is playing, I feel like he made Matt LaFleur look stupid. Should have got him more weapons in the draft. And I think Aaron Rodgers is staying a little bit longer.
All right, Renee?
I have to agree that he's staying. I just can't even imagine him
in a different uniform.
But I'm sure
but that's what I'm saying. People said that. Yeah.
So,
there you go.
It's tough to see. I mean, hopefully, this up and coming draft. I don't know what kind of wide receiver prospects they got. That are in the league. I mean, if they're anything as strong as what this season was with like CeeDee Lamb and some of the younger other guys, I feel like they need to bless him with some weapons because he's doing a lot with Devontae Adams and the supporting cast he's got around him. I mean, Aaron Jones had fantastic numbers as a back out the field with receptions, and so is Jamal Williams. Right?
Yeah, Jamal. Yeah, and then they got AJ Dillon back there now too.
And hold on, who's their fourth stringer?
Dexter Williams, Olympia High School.
Yeah,
shout out Dex.
Hey, it's crazy. Actually, I didn't go to high school with the guy.
Hurt his knee in one play.
But
he sprained his MCL after one play, after one carry.
Yeah, but they got Valdez Scantling. He's pretty solid. Maybe LaFleur just
2 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, maybe.
Is he solid or is Aaron Rodgers just that good?
Hey, Valdez Scantling's from St. Pete. We breed real talent out there.
Okay.
But yeah, it could be Aaron, but maybe LaFleur believes in his receivers.
All right.
But wouldn't it be cool? Like, look at Bruce Arians. He went out there and brought in AB. He brought in Leonard Fournette. He drafted a right tackle. Like Aaron Rodgers, he's not getting any younger.
To see what he could do with somebody like
why wouldn't you pull the trigger and trade for Will Fuller or really anybody? I mean,
Do you think it's an ego thing with the general manager and the organization?
I mean, I'm no mind reader, but I feel like it's got to be.
What
Don't you want to win too?
The only
Right.
the only justification I'll have, because I was thinking about this sitting at home, and I'm gonna kind of relate it to Madden, which is pretty stupid, right?
Right.
But looking through their eyes, if I have a generational talent at quarterback, I want to surround him with weapons. But at the same time, if he's that great, he can make his receivers look good like Brady did, right?
Right.
So I can give him some mediocre talent, and they still move the ball downfield and put up points, and I can spend my cap money on the defense, on the offensive line, and so on, right? Because they try to bring in some big-time defensive players. They brought in some pass rushers.
Mhm.
They try to get some corners in the draft, and they sign safeties to help Aaron Rodgers kind of, in my opinion, stay on the field, right? Because if the defense can force you to go 3 and out, keep Aaron Rodgers on the field, he's gonna put up points, right? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So that's my only justification. All right, so staying in the NFC North, somebody that hasn't been doing too well is Matt Patricia. So in his career as a head coach after he left New England, he's 10, 25, and 1. So love it or dump it, the Detroit Lions, do they have a new coach next season? And side note, will it be Jim Harbaugh?
I mean, Jim Harbaugh's
So Jim Harbaugh had 4 seasons as a head coach with the Niners, right?
Mhm.
His record was 44, 19, and 1. He took them to the Super Bowl with Cap, and of course they lost to Baltimore Ravens and Ray Lewis. Now with Michigan, they lost today. They got destroyed by Indiana, and there's been a lot of rumors that he's going to go back to the NFL. He's already in Michigan, so it's not that far of a drive to Detroit, and he could go coach the Lions. A lot of people are talking about it. That's the rumors. Do you think it happens, and if so, why? And would it be a good move?
To hire a failing college football coach. I mean, he did have success. He did have a solid team in San Francisco. They were, pretty shitty until he got there. Incorporated the whole new RPO, Wade Kaepernick. I mean, it sounds like it could be a story, made in heaven. But I don't know. I feel like it's too soon to call that. So I'm just going to go with yeah. Hell
like
yeah. Hey,
Well,
I love it.
So I'm going to throw this in there too. The reason I bring it up is Detroit, Matt Stafford, right? He's not
Mhm.
having too bad of a season, but he is
Right.
getting up there in age. He's had the bad back problems and so on. Detroit should pick top 10 this year. All right, I'm going to throw this out there. What if they get somebody who Jim Harbaugh does have experience playing against? They grab Justin Fields. They let him sit behind Stafford for a year. Harbaugh gets to coach Justin Fields and then see what he could do with him, kind of like what he did with Cap.
Then
in the
they
same
gotta
style
trade
system.
up. Justin Fields will be gone. They better get
He's
going to
go 2 or 3, in my opinion.
Justin Fields?
I think
100%.
Detroit could be there, and they'll have draft capital to move up if they want to, especially with teams at the top like the Giants and the Jets. They have a quarterback. Now, of course, they could go get Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think they'd let go of Daniel Jones or Sam Bradford to go get Justin Fields and rebuild again. Sam Darnold or
I don't know, because I'll say that for my love it or dump it. But I feel like one of those New York teams will keep their quarterback. The other New York team will be moving on. And that's basically just off of ego. I don't know what that one knew, but that'll be my love it or dump it.
Okay.
But, then if Detroit's number 3, then yeah, I feel like they go quarterback.
Okay.
But there's, a few teams that might be at the bottom with young quarterbacks that are already, ready to move on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just got to see if Justin Fields, he's not falling out of the top
3. I don't think so either. Renee?
I don't really follow college football enough to give an opinion on this, but as far as the coaching goes for Jim Harbaugh going to Detroit, I mean, they got nothing to lose. I can't remember this last time they were a winning team.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly,
it was when they had Calvin Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Not even.
I don't
They
know.
went 16.
No freaking way.
they went
16.
0-16.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
they got to do something.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go.
They love wasting generational talent.
They do.
Like Megatron, Barry Sanders, even Matthew Stafford is. I say he's a great
He's a
quarterback.
competitor.
Yeah. And he's
sure.
out there in Detroit.
Sucks.
Damn.
So going to the NFC East, love it or dump it. The Eagles are gonna have a couple players coming back. So they're gonna have Alshon Jeffrey, Lane Johnson, and Sanders coming back to play. Do the Eagles win a home playoff game this year?
Oh,
Eagles don't make it there.
You don't think they make it there?
No, Washington football team
Is gonna win the division?
win the division.
Explain.
go on.
Carlos Wentz
I want to hear this shit.
is awful. I mean, I like the
Whoa.
Washington football team a lot. I think they've got a great front four. They've got a good defense. Ron Rivera is a second half season coach. I heard a statistic. I'm not sure what it is. It would have been better to have it, but that I think he has a pretty strong winning record coming in the second half of the season. The biggest dilemma I feel that the Washington football team has was that they had big quarterback identity issues. They
Mhm.
probably still do. They don't know where to go with. Go with Alex Smith. go with Dwayne Haskins or go with Kyle Allen. I like Kyle Allen. I think he did fantastic in the beginning of the season for Carolina. I think Ron Rivera has a lot of trust in him and likes him too.
Mhm.
And, Kyle Allen played lights out. And there was rumors, that Cam Newton would never play football again. That he was that good. So I like them a lot. I mean, they've got Scary Terry at the wide receiver.
Yeah, he's solid.
He
Yeah,
just became a captain.
Yeah.
He
So
did. Congrats
exactly.
to Scary Terry. He's a big fan of our podcast. But I'm gonna have to say yes, Kevin. I love it because I think the Eagles, on paper, fully healthy. I'm a believer in Carson Wentz still. I'm not writing him off because he's out there playing with third string O-line. They're signing people on the practice squad. They're playing free agents that have been on the team for a week. They're 1 and 2, 3, 4 receivers are out. Fulgham was a failure in Green Bay. Now he's in Philly and he's a top fantasy wide receiver. Miles Sanders is out, so they've been playing with Boston Scott, who I think in that offense he's solid, but I'd rather have Miles Sanders than Boston Scott.
Agreed.
The only thing I feel like is holding them back is the defensive side. Their secondary solid with the addition of Darius Slay, but I think that they could, because if you look at it, they'll be the 4th seed, the lowest.
Yeah, they would be.
Yeah, and they would play.
They would play the 5th seed, which would most likely be the 2nd place in the NFC West. So probably Arizona.
That's the only thing that I'm worried about is if it's Arizona, because
No chance.
that's what I'm saying.
No.
If it's Arizona, no. But if
it's
somehow it's the Saints, I would take that.
It could be
I
the
would take-
Saints.
I
It could
would-
be the Saints or Arizona. Yeah.
If it's Arizona, no. It was fun, Philly, but
Yeah. Arizona has the #1 offense in the league right now, actually.
but but that's the thing. Will the injuries hold them back far enough to even make it?
Yeah.
Because right now I'm all for the Redskins. Actually, I agree with that part.
Football team.
Dang! I just did a racist. No, no. Right now, with the teams that because they got to go out there and play with what they have. Lane Johnson, he might not be fully healthy, but like right now, yeah, I'll take the Redskins. But later down the season, people start coming back from injury. I think Philly could even win a home playoff game.
Now,
Unless it's Arizona, then they're gonna get dogged.
staying on the topic of Philly, let me read off some stats. So Carson Wentz this season, all right, 1,800 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. All right. His best season in his career, this is his 5th year, has been 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So the most he's thrown for is 27 touchdowns. And everybody's defending this guy, saying, give him some time. Everybody's been hurt around him, right? Well, let me read off some other names of quarterbacks who didn't have that much time. So Daniel Jones is already catching some heat, all right? Daniel Jones threw for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. So he doubled Carson Wentz's touchdown passes and the same amount of interceptions. Gardner Minshew, 1,800 passing yards, the same as Carson Wentz. He had 13 touchdowns. Carson Wentz had 12, and he only had 5 interceptions. So better numbers than Carson Wentz with the Jags, who don't have much help either. Yet Gardner Minshew's already getting benched. Carson Wentz is getting more time. Marcus Mariota had 13 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Where's he at now? All right, he's a backup for the Vegas Raiders, and nobody's heard of him since.
Right.
Do you guys feel like Carson Wentz is getting a long leash in a way, how everybody's giving him a chance and using the excuse that his receivers are hurt? Or should the Eagles move on? And should have they even have stayed with Nick Foles to begin with?
100%. Every week when I fade these boys and he's having a shaky game and I see Jalen Hurts throwing the ball on the sideline, I'm like, oh wow, I'm done for. I think they should have been switched up. Who they're moving with. I think they have too much confidence in him. He had maybe he had more than one good season, but to reflect their Super Bowl victory, he did lead them pretty much all the way there. And Nick Foles finished the job, so I think a lot of Eagles fans and the coaching staff and the community itself is a big believer and loves him. And I don't think he's that great.
If they don't make the playoffs this season, since he is going to have some weapons coming back, do you think they move on?
I don't think they'll move on just because, egos and that gets in the way.
Right.
I don't think they should because, everybody you just named got benched too early, I think. I think Mariota, that wasn't the right offense for him, under center. I feel like he's a quarterback that needs to be in shotgun, doing RPOs, not, Tennessee ground and pound, play action, read this, read that.
Yeah.
That's, some of these quarterbacks never played under center until they got to the NFL.
Yeah, he played for Oregon, so they're traditionally a shotgun team.
I don't think Gardner Minshew should have got benched that early too. He was, he wasn't like, MVP discussion, but for Jacksonville, he was, doing a solid job. I don't think Daniel Jones should be should even be catching heat because they don't really have any weapons around him.
Yeah.
So I feel like they shouldn't add Carson Wentz to the list because everybody's, unhealthy. He was in an MVP discussion that Super Bowl year until he tore his ACL. So I wouldn't just, write him off yet. I mean, and that's the thing. Where's he gonna go?
Well, I don't think anybody would pick him up, honestly. I'm not a believer in Carson Wentz.
I think there'll be teams that are interested. There's some there's some quarterbacks rostered now that,
maybe the Steelers if he could, play after Big Ben retires, but
he's got
It's better than Big Ben. I'll give him that.
yeah, I mean, I watched this guy roll out to the right and throw the ball across the field to the left sideline. Like Carson Wentz is out there just slinging the ball.
He's got no help out there. He's trying to do it all himself, and I think that's.
But there's
also
other
one
quarterbacks
thing
that have no hope as well, and they're not. I mean, they're not like you said, MVP race, but they're at least competing, winning games.
No, but I feel like he's out there just thinking like it's me and nobody. Like like how we were talking about Lamar doesn't trust his guys.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz doesn't trust his guys. Why should he? He's probably thrown 20 passes this season to Fulgham.
Yeah, well, I mean, another team that I could think of is Chicago because Eagles' defense is not that bad.
Yeah.
Right, they're not, and Chicago's offense, they're not that good, just like the Eagles. Yet they're still 5-2. Right, so even with the weak receiving core and not enough talent around the quarterback, which they don't even have a quarterback necessarily. Right, they've been switching between Trubisky and Nick Foles. They're still winning games. Carson Wentz isn't doing his job to win games in the worst division in the NFL.
Right.
All right. So in my opinion, I'd say move on.
I say move on. I don't think
Move
he has a
on?
job
No,
anywhere
don't
else.
do it yet.
If they move on, he has a job nowhere.
But that's the thing. I feel like
as a starter.
As a starter, no.
Yeah.
But I feel like they can't get anything for him if you think about it because now these other teams have the upper hands. They're just gonna be like, oh wait, you want a first round pick for 20 interceptions? So now they can't even
I don't think he would get traded. I think he'd just get released as a free agent.
And they just eat up all that cap.
Yeah,
that's gonna hurt.
Jalen Hurts is sitting there too, and I'm sure they probably want to get him in more so you get a little bit of experience. And they're already losing, so you might as well. You have nothing to lose.
No, but that's the thing. They do have a lot to lose because that division's wide open.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't risk it. I would not put Jalen Hurts in right now. I mean, at the rate he's probably going to. I mean, Carson Wentz is probably going to get injured anyway. Like, why are we even discussing this?
So,
but no, I think it's way too early to move on.
Yeah. So enough of quarterbacks. So let's get to receivers. Right. There was an argument on Twitter this week where Julio Jones claimed that he was the best receiver in the league still. Devontae Adams fired back, said he was the best receiver in the league, and then DeAndre Hopkins laughed at both of them. So the stats for this season, right? Julio has 584 yards, which is the lowest out of the three. Devontae Adams has 675. DeAndre Hopkins has 704.
That's the most.
The most. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference is that Julio only has 2 touchdowns. We know Julio doesn't score that many touchdowns. Devontae Adams has 8. DeAndre Hopkins only has 3. So the Devontae Adams is scoring touchdowns, right? He had 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games, which is insane, right? And he didn't even play for I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks because he had turf toe.
Right.
So he's killing it. In my opinion, I'd say he's the best receiver in the league. Another name I'll throw in there's DK Metcalf, but only reason I'm leaving him out for now because I do think DK could be the best receiver in the NFL. Is Ivory giving me a weird look?
No, she's all for it.
Yeah. I think DK will be. Honestly, I think he's gonna be the best receiver in the NFL. Right. The only reason I'm leaving him out is because he wasn't in the argument, and he's still young. Right. He's learning.
But that's the thing. Like, what are we arguing numbers wise, or are we just talking about like pure receiver?
Best talent, best receiver you'd want on your team as well. Right. In my opinion, Julio's older. He's. I don't want to say washed. He's not washed, but he's not.
Well, if it's like, all right, are we going to build a dynasty? Then I'm going to take a younger guy. But if it's like, one season where, it's 7-on-7, you pick your one best receiver. I'm taking Julio.
Over Devontae Adams?
I'm taking Julio. He's bigger. He's got more size. He's going to, they all could go up and get it, but one can just go up there higher.
I mean, I can't. Matt Ryan leads the NFL in passing yards, and Julio still doesn't have that many touchdowns, and his yardage is mediocre compared to the other elite receivers.
Well, that's what I like. That's why this is such a hard debate because, all right, let's put them all in the Green Bay offense then. Would that be like,
I might go with DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm rolling with Julio just because, as a Bucs fan, I watch that man torch us. And plus, I don't know what games you guys get in Orlando, but for some reason, we only get Atlanta. We get Tampa or Atlanta. So I'm watching this man, Julio, and he's getting double covered. This year, I will say his hands have been a little bit shaky, but I've seen DeAndre Hopkins drop some. I haven't seen Devontae Adams really even play because of his injuries. But I just still, Julio does, he's not lacking any athletic ability at his age. I'm going to roll with Julio. I mean,
DrozKnows?
Dang, it's still just it's tough though because I'm not like because I'm still not even fully set now. Thinking about it, dang. Because I'm thinking about DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams route running, but I just feel like Julio's the better athlete. See, now I'm like, I don't know. Like, how do we even argue this, man? I'm tripping.
It's
tough, right?
It's
tough.
definitely a tough argument, and I don't want to be held to the fire, 3 weeks later when D Hop ends up breaking out and ends up being number one, But I think I had to go with Devontae Adams. I mean, he's got the most touchdowns. He's missed 2 games
by far,
and he's killing it. He's the number one guy right now. He's getting double covered just like Julio Jones is, and he's doing everything, So I got to give it to him. I think his route running is so good. I think it made Chad Ochocinco cry on Twitter. He said that's how beautiful it was, and how much he loves his route running, and arguably says that he's one of the best route runners ever. But I think Devontae Adams is reliable, and I like him a lot. I like D Hop a lot too. I like Julio, but I like Metcalf more than I like Julio.
Ooh.
Dang. I do.
Dang.
I can't disagree. I can't disagree.
Young,
yeah.
He's so young.
I don't know how GMs passed up on him.
That's crazy because they were hyping him up.
Did he go in the second round or something like that?
Second round, like end of the second round.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I feel like DK is like, if you had to pick like which one he resembles the most, I would say Julio.
Megatron.
Yeah.
Megatron.
I'm talking about out of the 3.
Oh, out of the 3.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, because
the other guys are not as big and physical.
Yeah, that's
So
he's
you
more
have to
physical.
Go with Julio.
But man, DK's got to be number 4.
I've never seen a play trend on Twitter with a receiver not even touching the ball.
Right.
When he chased down Buda Baker,
oh my god,
like that's effort, man. The kid wants it. He's like the perfect player to draft. Like that's what your team wants to build around.
That man, no, he's mean. Like he's a mean receiver.
Imagine him crackbacking you.
Good thing they banned that rule. Good thing they took that rule out.
Yeah.
But like he can block, he can go up and get it. The underneath route against San Francisco, if you had it, I'm not, nah, man. But like how he just took that underneath route, and you even think like 6'4" or whatever he is.
Right, tiptoe on the sideline.
That man,
finesse to
he's
take
a freak,
it all the way
man.
to the
Freak of
house.
nature.
For sure. I got a group chat, full of dummies that for whatever reason think that Kenny Galladay is better than DK, and that TK is not even a top 10 wide receiver.
Top 10.
They got to throw the whole phone away.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell them.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, they just Seahawks haters though.
Get them on here. So last love it or dump it. All right. So Renee, you might like this one. So this guy has 26 touchdowns in 7 games. The touchdown record in the NFL for the most in a season is 55 by Peyton Manning when he did it with Denver Broncos. Can Russell Wilson break the NFL passing touchdown record this season?
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And the biggest reason I do love it is because they're 32nd in pass defense. So he's got to do it to win games. Yeah. And they don't have no healthy backs. I mean, they don't have Chris Carson. They don't have Carlos Hyde. They don't have Travis Homer. They're relying on the rookie DJ Dallas.
Well, our statistician Ivory is saying breaking news that the Seattle Seahawks are going to sign Alex Collins from the Baltimore Ravens. He's been sitting out for 2 years, and he averages 4 yards per carry. So the run game might get a little bit better.
I mean, so did Marshawn Lynch, and we don't know what he looks like. We haven't seen him, so I'm not going to really lean on that much. I'm still going to lean on Russell Wilson.
Damn,
and
let Russ cook.
That's a great take.
Let Russ cook.
That is a great take. And more breaking news. You heard it here first.
I'm not even crazy about him either.
Before Adam Scheffler even reported it.
Yeah. He's too busy making music videos.
But no, I that's a great take. I love it because everybody's talking about DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett is, I mean, he's not just as good, but he's solid. He had 5 touchdowns that went against Arizona? 4 or 5? Four, because 5 would be some record.
I think it was 3. But yeah, but still,
said,
it was a fantastic game.
Oh, it got taken away.
That was the DK. He's talking about Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, no, Tyler Lockett, he's a monster too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean,
very underrated.
I mean, but Russell Wilson's gonna make anyone look like a monster too. But I'm not taking nothing away from Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is fantastic. He's 10 toes down anywhere in the end zone, in the corner. He's been getting the position, and he'll take the hits. He's smart. He's not the biggest guy.
Yeah,
he's not the fastest guy, but he's a playmaker. So for sure. And
55.
When you got DK, you got Tyler Lockett. And once you get rid of Greg Olsen and you put Jacob Hollister in the lineup or somebody,
you think he'll break that record?
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. Chris Carson back is a great back, great receiving option as well too. Once we get him healthy, I mean, you just have so many weapons.
Now, one question,
Josh Gordon too.
One question for you, and answer it in just one word. Answer it in one word. Russell Wilson MVP this year.
Duh. One word.
Duh. That easy.
Duh.
Over
Duh.
Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes is balling out as well. Tom Brady's having a good season. What separates Russell Wilson from everybody else?
And as silly as an answer it is, it's their pass defense. None of these guys have to be the number one factor to win their games. Pat Mahomes, he's got Tyreek Hill. He's got the number one tight end in football, Travis Kelce. He's got Sammy Watkins. He's got Carlos Hyde. He's got Le'Veon Bell. I'm about to run out of breath with how many weapons he has.
Don't even start with Tampa. Then
Yeah.
you'll be here all night.
Exactly. And I'm not discrediting, the weapons that Russell Wilson has, but they do have stout defense. They have a consistent run game, and both the Bucks do, and both the Chiefs does. And right now, the Seahawks, who were a run-heavy team last year, don't have no run game. I mean, this is a bold statistic, but I would imagine that Russell Wilson is probably leading almost their rushing because they haven't had a consistent rusher because Chris Carson is hurt and Carlos Hyde is hurt, and the backups were just. I think DJ Dallas was averaging like 2.7 yards a carry, which is awful.
Yeah.
One of you guys could do that.
No.
I might.
Now Russell Wilson, he's gonna get close, right? I don't know if he'll break the record. He'll get close for sure. He's my favorite pick to win MVP as well this year. If Russell Wilson does win a Super Bowl this year, because they do have a good chance, is he top 3 quarterbacks of all time?
Ooh, all time.
All time. He'll have 3 Super Bowl rings. He'll have, I believe this will be his first MVP.
No, he's only 3 Super Bowls? 2. This will
2?
be his second ring.
Yeah,
He did lose. So
Yeah.
second Super Bowl. Brady has 6. Besides Brady, it's like Manning with 2. Joe Montana has 4. Is it?
Yeah.
And he'll be top 5, I believe. Just like Renee said, what he does with nobody around him, especially on defense.
You said top 5 of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brady, Manning. Yes, let's hear it.
You're comparing these people. He's 31.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
and
saying. We got more time.
10. Look what he's doing now. 10 more years of this. Come on now. And one thing to really look at too, especially with, I don't like the Patriots, okay? But I respect. You know what? Yeah. Let me get in here. Your girl back, y'all. Follow me. Anyways.
Oh, brother.
Okay, no, but for real. So one thing that when we're talking about Tom Brady, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, and we're talking about Russell Wilson, one thing we have to keep in mind is that Russell Wilson's 31 years old. He's going high probability of getting his second ring. He's already been to the Super Bowl. This will be his 3rd time if he does go into the Super Bowl. Another thing you have to look at too is just how well they all do. He takes such good care of his body, right? Like he's one of a very, very smart player. Like the level of actual talent that he has, he's short as shit. Like to be in this conversation, like he looks like all their little brother. You know what I'm saying? So the way that he thinks, the way he runs, like Tom Brady, never, he don't have that in him, but you have Russell Wilson with the run game, but he's not like Lamar Jackson where he's just crazy. He's just the perfect amount. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, he's almost like, he's just the perfect amount of everything. You know the Powerpuff Girls when they're like putting everything, all this sugar and spice? He's just like, it's just perfect for longevity. And he's only going to go up from here. And then we have DK Metcalf, right? Who, there's great receivers, even the conversation you guys were having with Devontae Adams and Hopkins and all that stuff. But DK is not only is he, he's a baby, but at the time he's 6'4". He ran 22 miles an hour all the way across the motherfucking field. First of all, he was standing. You know, like how it is to take off when someone got the pick, he's running. DK is standing in that moment. Standing, and then looks over and was like, oh, I'm going to get him easy. Okay,
puts his head down and catches him. Yeah.
All the way down that motherfucking field. Got his ass 22 miles an hour. You have a 6'4" talent who can run. That's the most important part. So it's the dynasty for me. So when it comes to the rings part, no. For real, listen, y'all, listen. For real though, but like be open to it. When it comes to dynasty, Tom Brady, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and you look at Tom Brady, Gronk, right? Okay, but DK, especially as he evolves and gets better, and Russell just evolves and get better, because that's the thing about older people and stuff, and that's why you guys are saying like, oh, Julio Jones is older, Carson Wentz is older, we're gonna get rid of them and stuff like that, but that's sure talent. Those are sure hands. That's, they know what they do. They know when they're falling, their toes, no matter what, is gonna touch, both feet are gonna touch the floor before they get pushed out, right? Those things that happen only as age goes by. But there's a dynasty coming if they play their cards right. Like they have the potential highest. I think I'm gonna say that I think the highest, but if not, I'm being biased here. One of the highest ones to actually have a dynasty, something similar to the Patriots. I don't see that coming again with the Patriots unless they get their shit together, because it's not gonna happen with Cam, right? But I really could see it honestly happening with the Seahawks, especially like Bobby Wagner. We're not gonna talk about his game when they put him to go blitz.
And I think they blitzed him 3 times.
I was gonna say finally,
all over them, and even him, and we definitely need some more defensive people, and hopefully get them back. We have Carlos Dunlap coming in. We got Jamal Adams getting back. Jamal Adams showed out this year, which I didn't see. But anyways, I don't know why I got to this whole dynasty thing, but the point is, I think Russell Wilson is definitely going to be in the talk for being one of the greatest of all time. He might end up being the greatest because he has a lot of potential going forward and stuff, but he has a lot to live up to. So he's not, he has a lot to live up to, but he's been to 3 Super Bowls already. He's probably going to get a second one. He has a super high potential in having a dynasty of going back to back, and if not every year, maybe a year later going back to back, which is like a big, big deal, because I don't think, at least to my knowledge, and I don't know like the most about football, right? But I don't think anybody's had a dynasty like Tom Brady.
Well, Tom Brady got Gronk at 31.
At 31? Hey, you see, and we got DK earlier. Oh no!
She up to something.
I don't think Russell Wilson's ever had a losing season in the NFL, right? I don't think he's ever been below 8-8 since he's been to the NFL.
Sounds about right.
I'm just gonna agree to it.
Yeah.
I don't think he has.
No,
Sounds
he hasn't.
Good to me.
He don't sound like a loser
he
to me.
hasn't.
He's like 9-1.
He changed the Seahawks around because when he came is really that's when the Seahawks turned around.
Well, he's a 3rd round draft pick also, right?
Yeah, because they signed Matt Flynn to some crazy deal, and then he came in as a 3rd round pick and was like, "This is my job now."
So I mean, kind of piggybacking off what Renee said, I think if he does get all this done, it's a big if, right? We don't know what's gonna happen, but something like breaking the touchdown record, something like winning another MVP, winning another Super Bowl, I think he could launch himself in the top 5. And kind of like what Ivory said, he has another 90. I mean, he said he wants to play till he's 45. Right? Which Brady's almost there. Brady's 43, 44. So he has another 10, 15 years to kind of complete his resume. If you look at his resume now, he's already a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
Agreed.
And he still has another 10
His
years.
accuracy is insane.
Well, like he puts $1.5 million to his body. So,
That's what I was saying. The way he takes care of himself.
LeBron James is
breaking
doing
down.
that, and he's, in his peak. And plus, Russell Wilson plays quarterback. So other than, kickers, which aren't a real position, he's the least hit position on the field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I wish somebody would, because DK gonna be on that ass.
Hey, so raise your hands if you love it.
Hey, wait, I'm gonna put this here. When the Seahawks have a dynasty, y'all heard it here first, okay? From your girl, and now I gotta go, okay?
And that's our statistician, Ivory. No, so
Wait. What time are we at? We're at an hour. Okay.
I got 2 more things. Y'all good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm having fun.
Hey, so there we go. So this one's gonna go quick, right? So it's gonna be pretenders versus contenders. So there's a lot of teams.
Yeah, let's hear.
Yeah, me and DrozKnows were talking the other day, and there's a lot of teams that they have the record, but they haven't played the competition, right? So they're 5-2, 6-1, but they've been playing the bottom half of the league. And we decided to do something called pretenders versus contenders. So I'm just gonna name a team, and we're gonna do real quick in 15 seconds per team. If they have a chance to make it to a Super Bowl, or not even Super Bowl, if they have a chance to make it, get a playoff win or not, right? So the first team, Buffalo Bills, do they get a playoff win? I'll start with Renee on this one.
Pretender. Big pretender. And I think we'll see that this Sunday when the Seahawks, the real team that they've played for the first time, just blows them out. Just win by 10+.
Nick, the Indianapolis Colts, pretender, contender?
Defense wins championships. But Phillip Rivers turns the ball over too much. I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. Pretenders.
New Orleans Saints, DrozKnows.
You can never count out the Saints. You can't count out Drew Brees. Contender.
I'm jumping in real quick. Pretenders.
Pretenders.
Drew Brees. All he does, all he can do is really check down. Michael Thomas will, assist in slant running, but I'm going pretenders because there's the big bad wolf.
Nick Coca,
New England.
Arizona.
Tom Brady.
Arizona Cardinals.
Contenders until they run into the Seahawks.
Renee?
Contenders. I love them. The only team that beat the Seahawks. So
they could win a playoff game. They are going to play the 4th seed Eagles maybe. Okay. So moving on. So Los Angeles Rams.
Pretenders.
I'm glad we can all agree on that. And Baltimore Ravens, does Lamar Jackson win a playoff game this year?
Shit, he do. It depends who he matches up against.
I'll give him it because
I need to know the defense. If If it's a team he can just run
I'll
all
give
over,
him
I'll give him contender.
Y'all put
I'll
Noah. Y'all
say-
put Noah to sleep. Lamar Jackson ain't winning shit this year.
No, I'm giving it. No, I'm saying contenders because they could beat. I mean, Pittsburgh, and that's the only person in their way.
All right, and moving on for pretenders and contenders. So the last thing I want to talk about on the podcast before we go, well, we got 2 more things. Something everybody's been talking about is draft picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be at the bottom is actually going to be a winner this year, right? Because they're going to be in the race for Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just to read off some stats. So Trevor Lawrence last season, this year he just got COVID. In my opinion, I think he should sit out for the rest of the year.
Maybe he don't got COVID. And he's just resting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go off last season's stats, right? So Trevor Lawrence had 36 touchdowns and 8 interceptions last season, right?
Mhm.
Not bad.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Everybody's looking at him as the number 1 pick. Joe Burrow, of course, had a season that everybody knows. I don't even got to talk about it, but 5,600 yards, 60 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in 15 games, including the championship. Now, ever since Joe Burrow, everybody said we will never see another season like that. No other quarterback is ever going to have that great of a season.
Yeah, they say
right?
that about everybody.
This season, a certain quarterback for BYU, Zach Wilson, already in 5 games, so a third of the games that Joe Burrow has played in, has 2,500 pass yards, so he's already halfway there, right, in a third of the games, 21 touchdowns, a third of the way there, and 2 interceptions. So he's on track to do the same exact thing that Joe Burrow did without all the talent Joe Burrow had. Is it possible that maybe Zach Wilson can get picked ahead of Trevor Lawrence and be the top quarterback taken in this year's draft?
I don't.
Wait, someone. Wait,
I think no chance. No chance.
No
Hell
chance.
no.
No
Hell
chance.
No chance at all. I don't care what he does.
Do you think he could jump up and be a top 2 or 3 quarterback taken? There's Trey Lance and Justin Fields would be 2 and 3. Zach Wilson's definitely making an argument to be a first rounder.
Depends how many people need quarterbacks. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean,
No chance. Shooting that
I
down.
don't want to say no chance.
I wouldn't say second.
Highly unlikely. Highly improbable.
I'm sure it's set in stone that it will be Trevor Lawrence, Fields. I mean, that's the thing. I think the only reason why he could jump to third is because the depth this year for quarterback is very small, very, very low. I should say, very low. And Trey Lance played 1 game. That's it. His season was 1 game, so he better ball out in the combine, I guess.
Now I'm gonna disagree on this one. All right, and the only reason is this. So I'm trying to think like an NFL GM because I completely agree with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay, then
looking
you
at
need to be
the way,
egotistic
yeah,
as
looking at the
hell.
way that NFL GMs draft, right? Deshaun Watson, he won a national championship with Clemson, and Daniel Jones was picked ahead of him. Why? I don't fucking know. I would have never done that. But that's how GMs think.
No, Trubisky.
Trubisky as well. So
Oh, we got some more insight.
go ahead, statistician,
Oh,
real
here
quick.
we go.
Let me get my drink.
Okay, let me finish this real quick. So Zach I saw him make a throw yesterday, man. That shit was Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he was rolling out to the right, threw it across his body to the left, completion, and went for a touchdown. Justin Fields is coming from Ohio State. Quarterbacks from Ohio State that go to the NFL don't traditionally do well,
Right.
right? We have Cardell Jones who got cut after like a season. JT Barrett, Braxton Miller. You don't hear about them anymore. So Justin Fields going to the NFL, he might be the difference, but I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think
buy
he'll fit in
into
the
that
system.
stuff though. I don't buy into that.
No,
I agree
No,
with that.
I don't buy into that.
Don't matter where you come from, man.
I don't think so.
No,
You're a baller. You're a baller.
I guess. I mean, we'll see, right? And
I
then-
just think it's bad luck
Mhm.
because they've had different, they all, a few of those
Depends what
guys
the
had
different
Urban
systems and stuff.
Myers, and now was it Justin Day is the head coach?
yeah.
I feel I'm not buying into it.
I mean, Zach Wilson reminds me of like, Josh Allen came from Wyoming, and everybody said the same thing about him. Oh, I'm going Sam Darnold. I'm going Baker Mayfield. I'm getting, these quarterbacks. And Josh Allen isn't doing too bad in the NFL right now.
Right? No,
That's what he reminds me of, really.
Okay. No, that makes it sound better, but I haven't seen any film on this guy, so I don't know. I mean, we knew that Josh Allen was in Wyoming, 6 whatever he is.
Yeah. I wish I could roll the tape. I wish I could be like, yo, play the film.
Right.
Can we do Zach Wilson highlights real quick?
But
Can we YouTube it?
My laptop's moving slow as molasses.
All right. So I don't watch college, really. Obviously, I know about Trevor because who doesn't, right? This is the little fun fact, stat queen over here. But anyways, he don't really like football. He don't really, his passion for the game and things like that isn't actually there. And he said it. So the only thing that I would get and why he wouldn't be the first one and where could possibly not be it is he goes into the NFL, he gets a bad hit or gets an injury,
He's
you
like,
know?
I don't want to do this.
You know what? I'm not going to put and we've seen that before. I'm not going to put my body at risk.
Mhm.
And y'all know about how everybody luck. What was it?
Suck for luck.
Suck for luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So seeing that could very well be him. And if I'm trying to start, if you get him, one, you're paying him.
Mhm.
Definitely a nice, pretty penny, but you're building your whole dynasty around them. You're building your whole team around
Yeah.
him. Okay? He's going to be a key player because he's going to go to a shitty team. Obviously, they're doing a rebranding, rebuilding,
Mhm.
but let something.
Oh, and
He's
if he
not
goes to the
passion's
Jets,
not there.
if he goes to the Jets, he's gonna get killed.
I'm saying, like, let he go somewhere and they're rebuilding or not, they're not there yet. Like, who's, I don't want to say the thing wrong. Fuck. But anyways, the pass defense or whatever, the people who protect the quarterback.
Offensive line.
The offensive line. Like, what if I'm telling you, he gets hurt or something, or gets a couple bad hits and getting his ass beat that first season, he might just be like, hey, I'm about to finish out this shit and I'm out. No, but for real though, he don't really like it.
Mhm.
bold.
I think
That's what I
the
can see.
yeah yeah.
No, he'll figure out his contract. That's what, like I'm saying, but like he might. Is that worth getting him if you're not gonna really build up this team that you guys are looking for to
Mhm.
become a playoff contender, to be like divisional champions? If you can't, try to get to a ring in the next couple years, those are important things to look at as a coach. And there's a lot of other talent out there. Yeah, he's obviously number one right now, but there's a lot of other talent that are hungry, who want it, who have the passion for it, and he does it. And it's been said. He said it himself. It's not like. It's not a secret. It's not like a guessing game. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that as me as a coach, I want somebody who wants it just as bad as me. Because what's that saying? Talent works harder when
Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work
exactly.
Yeah.
The talent's there.
Yeah.
But you got somebody working hard, getting it, grinding, stuff like that. And it just reminds me of like Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? He's a hard worker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, brother.
It is a Russell Wilson show. But anyways, that's my fun fact.
And so it's kind of funny she said that because this week on Twitter I saw Vic Beasley just got cut by the Titans, and somebody quoted, he was a first round pick, and somebody quoted it, said, if y'all knew Vic Beasley, you would know his heart was never in it. He's meant to be a pastor. And that's stuff that GMs know that we don't, right? We haven't met Trevor Lawrence in person. We've never had a
he's
conversation
super
with him.
Christian.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
He was like
super
he
Christian.
got engaged at 21.
Yeah, and so I really do like what Ivory said. Maybe his heart's not in it. So that's why I went with it. That's why I want to watch the highlights, but I'm telling you, I think somebody could get picked ahead of Trevor Lawrence. I think everybody's jumping to the gun, saying he's going to be the first overall pick.
You also got to think who's going to have that number one pick, and we're talking about the Jets. And if there's one thing that they're known for, it's for messing up the first, their first round pick. So honestly, this story could write itself. They get Trevor Lawrence, and he's like, nah, not me.
Yeah. I heard he might stay another year.
Yeah.
So can someone deny it? Like someone could be like, no, I don't want to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
The famous Eli Manning and Big Ben or Phillip Rivers. Eli Manning got drafted by the Chargers and refused to go. He said, I'm not going to play for them. So then they had to do a trade right there. They traded Phillip Rivers for Eli Manning.
But that was like lucky for them. They were able to get a trade.
Yeah, but everybody was saying the same thing about Joe Burrow last season. Oh, Cincinnati quarterbacks don't go there. Which I don't think is true. Carson Palmer had a great career there.
My bad. While
You're good.
my memory's fresh. If that happens, I think that Jerry Jones would get rid of Dak with a smile on his face.
I 100%.
With a
I've
smile
been
on his
saying
face.
it.
Back to
I've
the
been
Jets
saying
for
it.
Trevor
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes,
Damn,
I've been saying
yo,
it.
you heard it
I
first here.
think-
You heard it first here.
Yeah, with a smile on his
Damn.
fucking face to see Trevor Sunshine Lawrence
I've been saying it. Yes.
with all those weapons.
He gets his white boy.
Yes, the white boy he wants. The Tony Romo 2.0. The
I've
Tony
been
Romo that
saying
he
it.
deserves.
Yes.
100%.
Fuck Jerry Jones if he does that.
Yeah.
Well, because even Trevor Lawrence, when they were like, "Hey, what do you think about going to the Jets?" Joe Burrows was, or what do you think about Cincinnati? I'm gonna play hard wherever I go. I'm ready for it. Trevor Lawrence, well, where do you think you're gonna go if you go to the Jets? I got to think about everything. I got to take everything
Yeah.
into consideration.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Blame him.
That's what I think. I think everybody's jumping to the gun. He's going to be the first overall pick. A lot of stuff can happen between
Right.
now and the draft.
Well,
Right.
just think about
What they did to Le'Veon Bell.
the Jets.
Yeah, what they did to him.
Oh, the
he's
Jets,
number
they're
one.
a-
They're
they're a
regular
damn-
scrimmage. Yeah,
I think he
it's
had-
it's their plague.
He had the same amount of what was it, rushing yards in one game with the Chiefs that he had in like a whole season with the Jets or some
because-
shit like that.
One thing interesting to look at too.
Yes, let's hear it.
So Le'Veon Bell just got traded from the Jets, right?
Mhm.
Number one draft pick, right? Or he's a beast, so who cares, right?
Yeah, he was
Right?
He was third round pick.
Okay, third round pick, whatever. The
Great
detail.
player, though, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a great player, right?
It was because off field issues.
Why would you, if you were first round gonna get Trevor, why would you get rid of Le'Veon Bell this season?
Because ego. The same way that they signed Frank Gore, who's 40 years old, and they're giving him the ball and not Le'Veon. It's because Adam Gase, he puts his emotions into it. He doesn't like Le'Veon because, he's out there filming a rap video. Who cares? He's a stud. You think he shoots the rap video and then goes to bed? No, he's still grinding. So what that he wants to do all this other stuff?
Time.
Yeah, like let the man do what he wants on his free time.
No one said shit about Juju Smith,
Yeah, he's got his vlogs. Yeah, he's out there with Danny Duncan and them boys.
They're 7-0 or whatever.
Exactly.
I think my fact was interesting though.
It was.
Oh,
and there goes our statistician.
Quarterback, but you're gonna get rid of like one of your best weapon.
Sip the tea.
Run the tape. So this is the last thing we'll do real quick.
All right,
our
Zach
producer
Wilson.
KMO. Sadly, we haven't made it because y'all don't like our videos, so we have real jobs and shit.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm telling y'all, this guy is a stud. This guy, I've watched him in the pocket. He reminds me. He's doing like Mahomes stuff.
Right. Very
in the
elusive.
pocket.
Very elusive.
Playing for BYU, I feel like if he was playing for an SEC team, everybody would be talking about him, which they are, but they'd be hyping up way more than they are now. Watch this. Drops back. Deep ball. Cover 2 hole. That's an NFL throw.
They lost.
All right. And this guy, and right now they're undefeated. They're top 10 ranked team in the nation. If coronavirus wasn't a thing, right, and everybody actually cared about college football this year,
no one does.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would be talking about this guy, in my opinion. I think he's gonna be a first-round pick. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna guarantee he'll be a first-round pick, all right? And I think that he'll jump one of the top 3 quarterbacks.
I can see first-round pick because a lot of teams need quarterbacks that
right.
hype. There's not a lot. But wait, how much time we got? Like for you before you go?
5 minutes.
All right, cool.
Okay.
So Trey Lance coming from North Dakota State. I think he'll jump him. I think he might even jump Justin Fields. Guess we'll
I don't know
see.
about all that, but all right, real quick. Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert?
Can I take both?
Sure. Too early to call.
Yeah, they're both amazing.
All right, Joe. You have yours yet? Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert?
I love Justin Herbert. I love him, man. And the Chargers are such a far better team, than their record
agree.
shows.
Yeah.
So I like Justin Herbert. I mean,
Big Dick Joe.
Burrows. I mean,
I'm
it's
saying
like-
Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
but we will dive into that in season 2, episode 2.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's great to be back. There's a lot we missed. There's a lot we got to cover. And we just want to thank you all for, we love the feedback on social
KMO got
media.
the car running, so
Seahawks
But-
-3, cash it. Seahawks -3.
Hey, and book the Bucks to the Super Bowl.
They got to beat the Seahawks. So we'll see.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.